Hi everyone, it's Richard here.
And it's Tom here.
And here we are looking at Tom Clancy's The Division beta running on PC at 4K using the GTX 980 Ti.
So this is going all out here. We're going for, was it full settings and this next step down?
Yeah,
what
basically
resolution?
4K resolution here, and we're running at ultra settings and high settings. So yeah, I wasn't really expecting even the GTX 980 Ti to be able to pull this one off, to be honest, and it is a bit touch and go. 4K resolution, essentially it is the equivalent of running 4 1080p screens simultaneously.
Blimey.
Yeah, you can see here that there's a bit of variance in terms of the time of day. When we did the 390 versus 970 comparison, we were pretty eager to make sure that we had the time of day correct here, but we were running out of time with our beta testing here, so we really needed to run both of them one after the other one.
But it is close enough to get the point across.
Yeah, pretty much. This is like essentially maybe 10-15 minutes apart, so that's how much of a difference you'll get in the time of day. If it was night time with more dynamic lights in play, that might have been an issue, but I think this is pretty good.
So moving on to the shooter section now, I think.
We're actually doing a bit of traversal first of all through the city streets. Outside exterior views tend to really push this particular game. Yeah, you can see here that we're running above the 30 FPS threshold. I'd say that 30 FPS really is the kind of
the lower end of what
the lower end of what's playable on a PC title, really.
Okay.
But you will note that earlier on, during that cutscene, we did actually hit a low of about 21 FPS on the ultra settings, and that is not good. And yeah, traversal here, pretty basic. We're staying above 30 FPS on both, and you'll note that the high setting only really gives us, like, I don't know, maybe an additional 10% of overhead here.
Oh, it's dipping. I see it going below the 30 line. So
yeah.
a locked 30 is not doable on either setting for this card.
You're going to have to, well, that's exactly it. You're going to have to be quite judicious with your settings here. And yeah, I actually think that NVIDIA's DSR scaling technology, they should really consider having an upscaling option, because 4K resolution, the pixel density is so high that on a traditional sort of 27, 28 inch screen display, you can easily get away with reducing resolution and not really noticing. But conversely, you really do want to have the higher quality settings at 4K, because, you know, obviously
it can make a big difference on shadows, I've noticed.
Yeah,
and, the fold effects as well. But is this running with any overclock at all? Or
no, this is standard.
Stop?
There is still quite a lot of overhead available there, at least an extra 200 megahertz on the core.
So we've switched now? What is
We've
this?
switched, yeah. This is a second round of testing where we are running the same settings, ultra and high, but this time at 1440p.
Okay.
And yeah, basically the idea here is that, well, from my point of view, I think that the 980 Ti, Fury X, these cards, although they're marketed as 4K capable cards, I actually think that 1440p and ultra-wide 1440p are more their natural home. And you can kind of see that here. So ultra settings, this is kind of like the nadir, really. This is as low as it will get in this particular test.
Oh, that's pretty good then.
If you look at the high settings, we've got a lot of overhead there.
Well, we don't know how far it'll go in the final game, of course. We've only seen like the first battle, and this initial cutscene is probably the best stress test we've got.
That and battle outside of the base of operations, which is coming up in a bit. But it should be stressed that we are kind of treating this as a stress test, and a lot of the beta at least takes place indoors, and frame rates just sort of go through the roof at that point. There's far less of an issue there.
That's so a lot of GPU overhead in those early points.
Yeah, basically interior shots are absolutely fine. You know, generally you can add 10-15 frames per second, possibly more, to what you're seeing here. But this is a stress test, and we're kind of more concerned with minimum frame rates here. Just going to have a quick shootout here just before we get to the first major event, and yeah, you can see that we're staying north of the 60 FPS threshold on high settings, but we're not on ultra. But as you pointed out earlier, this is reference speeds. A lot of 980 Ti's have a factory overclock in place, and of course you can overclock the card yourself. We can easily add the sort of Maxwell standard plus 200 megahertz to the core, plus 400 megahertz to the RAM, and it's basically free performance, and you'd be mad not to make use of it, really.
And the GTX 970 got a lot out of that 200 and 400.
Yeah, it was. One might even call it game-changing based on the stress tests that we did yesterday. But here we are in that base of operations siege where we're tackling a big bunch of NPCs here. And yeah, you can see that even on high settings we do dip below 60 here.
It's just a lot of the effects, isn't it? The volumetric.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. So yeah, it's really interesting results. 1440p for GTX 980 Ti, I think. Anyway, that's all we've got for now. I hope you enjoyed this particular analysis. Please do give us a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more. I'll see you soon.